Hello and welcome to the Watchin It podcast. On today's just know this is not what we signed up for, Daredevil. And on Severance,
this is what we signed up for.
Rest in peace, Annie Dillon.
Oh,
All that
yeah.
and more. I'm your host, Donnell, and with me as always is Robert. If this is your first time joining us, we're just a podcast. We like to dive into TV shows and movies, give our reviews and our thoughts about them, and just kind of, give our takes. Robert, you ready? I know. I'm with you. We both made it very clear.
Daredevil
last week.
Born Again. Season 1, episode 3. The name of the episode matters not.
Nope.
It can go to hell.
Yep. We were very clear
this
last week.
This is unacceptable.
We were very clear last week that sure, fine. First 2 episodes, no costume, no vigilantism, fine. But
I'm about to drop a deuce all over this episode. It is so much. I am so much more upset about this episode.
Yeah.
Beyond the fact that we get no Daredevil.
There's some other stuff, of course.
All right,
real quick before we dive in, actually, I do want to gripe outside the show. This is just about Disney Plus. Their Disney Plus is they're trying to like slowly integrate in because Disney owns ESPN and Hulu and National Geographic.
Everything. They own everything.
And so they kind of want to get all their streaming ducks in a row and kind of, I'm assuming they're going to eliminate the other ones soon. And so when you pull up the app now, you see everything, which is annoying because it used to be you'd pull up the app and all you have is the Disney stuff. So if you're looking for the Marvel show that just came out, it's right there front and center because it's the biggest thing on the platform. Now it's not. And another thing that's very annoying is for whatever reason on the front page of Disney Plus, they have Daredevil Born Again, the docu-series, which they did a little documentary about making it. And I keep and it looks just like the Daredevil Born Again. I keep clicking on it, and then they have in there, if you like this, you might also. And so you would think, sure, I clicked on the docu-series, but if I like the docu-series, I probably would like the show. The show's not in there. What is in there? The original Daredevil show and the Defenders.
Nice.
So I'm just like, why can I not get to Daredevil Born Again
yeah.
from the docuseries? You need to fix your stuff, Disney, and clean up the Hulu and stuff. I like Hulu, but you got to clean it up.
I'm excited for Hawkeye. I'm excited for Thunderbolts.
Yes.
But we gotta do a class action civil lawsuit. All 230 million American citizens have got to rush the Disney studios and be like, give it back to whatever was doing it before you took over. Like Netflix gets these characters, whatever Wild West stuff was going on in phase 1. We gotta go back.
Yeah.
Because it's not working.
It is not. It is not. All right.
Okay.
Let's jump in. Let's do this.
All right. We start out with Hector in jail.
Yep.
I love him talking about the singing frogs. I also really love to jump to the end. At the very end.
It took me a second.
He's listening to the frogs.
Yeah.
Hit me real hard.
It took me a
I
second.
got the
and
frogs.
then once it did, I was like, oh, damn.
Yeah. It was the tweeting frogs on the end credits. For those that don't know, longtime listeners may know, Robert lives in the forest. He lives across the street from a swamp.
Yep.
And in the springtime, there are frogs, billions of frogs are chirping. I can hear it inside the house.
Yep. And if you go outside.
And it is amazing and beautiful.
Yeah.
Notice there's been no frogs inside.
I know.
They either died or they were like, oh, the party's across the street.
He's like, the orgy's happening across the street. I gotta get out of here.
Yeah.
I mean, he was probably just a winter tenant, Robert. He probably came in here to keep warm in the winter.
He's dead. He's dead. There's no getting out once you get in.
Once you're in the fireplace, you don't leave the fireplace.
Then we jump to a truck robbery. I do like the guy. He's like, nah, we just gonna chill out. Nobody's gotta play cowboy. I love that Robert just shows up and he's like so nonchalant. He's like, give me the keys, give me your wallet. The guy's like, okay. Nobody has to die today. And then the other guy's stupid man pulls a gun or flashes a gun. And it's just, the robber's
like,
just like,
my thing is
the
just
robber
like,
just shrugs and is just like, okay, I guess I'm killing everybody.
I mean, my thing is also like, what did he like? It was already clear, like I said, from his partner giving the dude the keys and his wallet. Like, this is already happening.
Yeah.
You flashing a gun at this point, like maybe at the beginning it might make some sense, not really, but a little bit more. But at the point where it's like, no, the robbery's already in motion. Just let it happen.
Yeah.
You flashing a gun now is not changing that trajectory. So I was just like, yeah, no. I did feel sad for the other his partner though, who was just I was just like he's
like I got kids to feed.
He wanted to get
this
home.
is just part of the business.
It's just like, as they say, like what about like when it comes to like if you're working at a store and someone robs, like your life isn't worth the bag of popcorn they stole. Let them go.
Well, that's how it's always
and that's
been
how it is for that driver. He's like,
that's how it's been for 1,000+ years. Okay, you're on the high seas.
Yep.
The pirates show up. You just be like, I've got insurance.
Yeah.
They bought insurance for pirates.
Yeah.
As long as don't have the flag up that says we're gonna no quarter.
Yeah.
You just give them the stuff. And they leave you be.
Yeah,
it was sensible.
Keep on going.
We used to live in a society, people, okay,
where you could just rob people and it was all decent and above. No.
we get a brief scene with Fisk and Veronica. Veronica.
Yeah.
Is that okay? Yeah. Anyway, his wife, talking about how the crime has no leaders. And it's getting chaotic out there.
Fisk is very much just like, well, we're above that now. Which
I want to know what the deal is with his like bloody knuckles.
Yeah, that was weird because like they show like we know where Daredevil, because we get to see Daredevil right after with his bloody knuckles. We know where that comes, but I was like, what did Fisk do? I'm assuming at some point we're going to get to see.
Maybe he's punching a wall or something. Yeah,
maybe, but yeah, he has bloody knuckles too. And then then we cut to Daredevil in the bathroom washing his bloody knuckles, which we know, of course, and which led me to think, oh yeah, he's going to be back next episode. Yeah, is from the previous episode where he beat up those two cops that I'm surprised are alive.
Yeah, no, yeah, one of the cops, he's all beat up. He shows up and he's about to take the stand. Yeah, and I'm just like, you let them live. Yeah, both of them.
I mean, it's one of those things. I don't know what the best thing, because like if they were both dead, especially the one who's going to be on the stand, like that could look very suspicious. Especially after, spoilers for what happens later, after it comes out that the guy who is on the or is being prosecuted is a vigilante. Like, does he have connections? Did he send one of his vigilantes after these cops? So like, them being dead could have hurt the case, but also them being alive could have hurt the case. Dude,
so if I'm this cop, I have so many questions other than just a blind guy that can fight. Yeah, I'm like, he didn't just fight.
He did not just fight.
He wiped the floor with two trained goons. Yeah,
destroyed them easily.
There's a side story about Cherry and I can't remember the name of the guy that they want to testify. Nicky Torres, and them getting him from the safe house to the trial. They do a little switcheroo. It's a small story. It's
not.
It's part of the plot, but we can mostly ignore it.
Yeah. I do wonder about the Nicky Torres character, just because like he shows up and he gives them like some drugs, and I'm wondering like is he on something specifically, or is he just a drug addict? Because I'm just wondering. This is the MCU. There's different substances that could maybe give powers at different stuff. So I'm just wondering like, is he on like just drugs, or is there going to be like a more thorough through line with him coming up of him on like some substance that gives him some superpowers?
Let's save like the trial proper for last. Is there anything else that happens outside the trial? There's a little bit of therapy stuff,
a little bit more where we see that. I mean, we do get to see between Fisk and Veronica just their divide, and even though they're trying, I think Fisk is, I don't know if Veronica is, but they're trying to get the relationship back. We get to see that like there's definitely some trust issues. Like we do get to see that Veronica sends one of Fisk's guys, his right hand man or whatever, to meet with the gang leaders and make the tracksuits pay restitution and stuff. But also we get to see that the gang leaders kind of do, I don't know where that falls out, don't really like, well, we're not listening to you. If you don't, if Fisk wants this, which we find out it wasn't Fisk who wanted it, it's Veronica. But so we get to see that there's more divide there. And then I think that's pretty much it. The majority of this episode was
until
the trial.
end,
until the end, which we got to do the trial before we do the end.
Okay, so let's talk about this trial.
Let's talk about this trial.
So
you okay, Robert?
So I'm watching right now. I'm watching The Blacklist.
Right.
And I sent you a screenshot, couple of screenshots.
Yep.
Of a tech guy talking gibberish about tech stuff.
Yep.
The Blacklist is fun in a trash way. It's trash. But I'll eat this trash all day.
Yeah. Sometimes you need some trash.
You know what? It's not a show about network engineers.
Yeah.
So when they talk about layer 4 TCP UDP routing on the iOS,
you just let them go.
I'm like, okay, I get it.
Yeah.
Right? You Googled some stuff. You
wanted,
tried.
Yeah, you wanted some
Best effort.
tech sounding stuff. That a majority of people, unless you're in the tech field, won't even bat an eye at. So, yeah.
This is a show about a lawyer.
Yep.
And a major trial.
Yep.
They half-assed it. I know enough about the law to know this is not how any of this works.
Yep.
This is not how this works.
Yep. I mean,
surprise witnesses.
Yeah.
Like,
this case would have been thrown out. This case would have been like, they would have been like mistrial, moved to another jurisdiction.
Yeah. No, there would have been a deposition on video with a court reporter.
Yep.
Of the guy before he went on the stand.
Yeah.
And if he had gotten on the stand and given a different testimony, all hell would have broken loose. It would have paused.
Yeah.
It would have months before anything else moved forward.
Oh yeah.
This is the linchpin of the case.
Yep.
Whatever. Move on. I'm moving on.
All right.
So, in the previous episode, there was a talk with the judge about we can't allow suppressing
the fact that he was white tiger.
White tiger.
Yeah, I can't remember what.
Why?
Yeah.
Why? This won him the case.
Yeah.
Why would you want to suppress this?
I mean, so my thought process before it, because when it happens in this episode, I was like, "What are we doing?" Until it played out. But before was like, yeah, there's kind of this divide between cops and vigilantes, and there's also Fisk is running on the whole anti-vigilante thing. So I was like, yeah, this could tank your case. But then the way he spins it, I'm like, why wasn't this the strategy from the get-go? Once you learned he was, and because that thing is you don't have to rely on a scared drug addicted witness. You can rely on the guy. So yeah, I'm just like seeing how it played out in this episode. I'm like, why wasn't this from the? I mean, the only thing I could think is that maybe because Matt Murdock is Daredevil, obviously, and maybe he wants to be able to try to allow White Tiger to maintain his secret identity. Because I mean, that is one thing.
Yeah, I'm assuming that's what it was at first.
Yeah,
was like keep a secret identity.
Exactly. Because I as this episode shows, there's no put, because that's one thing the judge says. Because Matt Murdock surprises everybody with it. Everybody, including like his client, when he just pulls out the mask right there in court and announces that yes, he's White Tiger.
Yeah. By the way, leading. And testifying.
Yep.
Objections all around.
Yeah.
Objections all the way down.
Yep.
This is not how you,
like I said,
do this, okay? Because he is your witness. Unless you declare him a hostile witness, you cannot lead. And during that, he's talking directly to the jury. The lawyer is. That's a no-no.
Yep.
The lawyer gets to ask questions. The person on the stand answers it to the jury.
Yep. The only time the lawyer gets to talk directly to the jury is during opening and closing statements.
Exactly. Which, by the way, we never even got opening statements.
Did not get any opening statements. Yeah. I will say, but yeah, so he does this, and the judge pulls him into quarters, and this is another part where I'm like, no, that's not how this plays out. Is the judge is like, one thing he says, which is true, is once the cat's basically out of the bag, you can't put it away now that it's known. But I'm also like, that's still not, like, he's like, so we'll just go with it. I'm like, no. This is a mistrial.
This is a mistrial.
This is a mistrial. This is probably a change of venue. probably got to go. I mean, like I said, it's probably still going to get out there that he's White Tiger to even other places, but you're definitely moving to different counties, if not a different state, for this case, because at the end of the day, like, yeah, everything's contaminated.
Prejudice of the jury.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, White Tiger is a street level guy.
Yep.
And they have all these like things that they bring up that he did and people that he
Mm-hmm.
helped.
Yep.
You know what? Because they weren't allowed to bring up White Tiger pre-trial.
Yep.
They didn't do that during voir dire. Voir dire is when they select the jury. That's a fancy term for it. And if I'm the prosecutor, I'm going, hey, have you ever been saved by a vigilante?
Mm-hmm.
Hey, have you ever been saved specifically by the vigilante White Tiger?
Yeah.
Because
that's a conflict of interest right there. Like, if you're sitting there as someone
This is New York City.
Yep.
You know what? Everybody has been saved by a vigilante.
Mm-hmm.
The Avengers, in general.
Spider-Man's running around, Daredevil,
they are
White
prejudiced.
Tiger. Like, it's going to be to hard to get a non-saved vigilant like person.
That's what
there.
I'm saying, man.
I know. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, like you said, you gotta move the trial somewhere else.
Change the venue. I'm sorry.
You're not gonna be able to get a jury pool.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. It is so stupid. It makes me mad.
Yep.
Like, this is not how you got it. If you're gonna do the trials, if this is gonna be a major component of your show, you got to do it right. And you're doing it wrong. You couldn't bring in a consultant to do it. I did and did not like the scene where Matt Murdock was in the court alone.
Yeah.
Like it was in a church.
Yeah.
I mean, it's good cinema.
Yes.
Bit heavy-handed.
Yeah. Yeah. I felt the same
Bit too on the point, not subtle at all.
Yeah. So we get a scene before we get to the verdict. We get a scene of Matt and I can't remember his real name, but White Tiger talking. Hector.
Yeah.
And basically, Hector's one is saying like it wasn't Matt's right to let out his secret or choose to let out his secret. And then what is it? And then also, Matt's there like, well, hey, though, if you do get acquitted, like your vigilante days are done. You got to hang it up.
Yeah.
Which I don't agree with. I'm like, you got to move.
Like, no, you got your
New
carte.
York.
No, your carte. If you get found not guilty, you got carte blanche to keep going.
I mean, yes and no, because of how the episode ends.
I guess everybody knows who you are now.
Yeah. I'm like, no, you got to move. Like, you can still be a vigilante, but you're now setting up shop in Chicago or something, bro. I'm sorry.
Fair enough,
New York is off the books for you. But anyways, he's like, yeah, you're done. And what's his name again? I can't remember his name. Hector is like, it's something. It always reminds me of Batman and how
you can just call him White Tiger.
Yeah, it always reminds me of Batman and how like a lot of people are like, no, Bruce Wayne is the false identity. Yeah. Batman is who he really is, and Hector kind of has a moment like, no, I am White Tiger. Like, it's not just put on the mask. Like, that's who I am all the time. And he kind of even throws it back in Matt's face, which I'm like, please get the suit back on. I was like, you can't just give that up. I'm like, yeah, Matt, you can't just give that up. Put on the freaking suit.
And we know this because we went through it with 2 seasons of the Netflix show. You cannot redo the Netflix show.
But Matt Murdock, of course, says, you'll be amazed how much you grow not to need it. I'm like, shut up and put on the suit. Stop it. Put on the suit. Stop it with your logic.
So they bring him up on the stand, Hector, at White Tiger, and give all his testimonials about cops he've helped and other people. We know, and then it goes straight to closing arguments.
Yep. Don't see the cross-examination.
I want to see, because the prosecutor was really upset that they were suppressing that evidence.
Yep.
Which means that he had a
case.
Stuff.
He had something
I needed
there.
to see him cross-examining Hector.
Yes.
There needed to be, because look,
like they made it.
Donnell, there's ways to do there's ways to do trials in television and movies.
100%.
So at the beginning of the show, they showed us that he was not responsible. We know, the audience knows.
The audience knows, 100%.
That he was just a victim of circumstance. He walked in on somebody getting beat up. He tried to help.
Yep.
And then the person died. Not
the person he was helping.
The cop. Yeah, the cop died without him knowing that it was a cop.
Yeah.
So we know he's, quote, not guilty.
Exactly.
Right? Then it's got to go the other way during the trial, in my opinion. He's got to be found guilty. And then us, the audience, are upset, feeling emotionally about a miscarriage of justice.
Yeah.
Otherwise, what they really should have done is given us a real trial, bring in whoever wrote, what was the Joe Pesci movie from back in the day.
You mean My Cousin Vinny?
Yeah. Where it's like it's so good and accurate that they teach it in law school.
Yeah.
Like, you got to do it that level. Make it where the audience doesn't know what happened.
Yep.
And we've got to figure it out. Like Anatomy of a Fall, where we don't know the answer. We're just kind of trying.
We're
get us
along
deep
in the trial
into it.
also. Yeah.
Yeah. That's how you do it.
Yep.
But this was just BS all the way down.
Yep.
Yeah. And I really needed to see that cross exam.
Yeah, I would have loved to see.
This is just bad trial stuff. I've seen CW shows that do trials better.
Wow, that's a
dig.
That's a dig
hit
right there, man. Woo.
Yeah. But anyway, they find him not guilty.
Yep.
I would have liked them to have found him not guilty on the first 2 counts and maybe guilty on the manslaughter or something at the end. Maybe
when I was watching that, I was like, okay, they're going to get him on the manslaughter, and then
it's just stupid. It's too hopeful.
Yeah.
I need this to be dark.
It's not how these things would have really played out. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially in modern society. I mean, it's weird. Vigilante hero world.
Yeah, but even still, I'm just like, it's the freaking cops, man.
But no, this trial was screwed from the start. As soon as he pulled out that mask, Matt Murdock pulls out that mask, trial over.
Yep. Oh, trial's shut down.
Mistrial.
Done. Mistrial.
This is going to get overturned on appeal.
Yep.
Yeah.
Except it won't now, but...
True.
Like I said.
Yeah. Fast forward, he does put his suit back on.
Yeah.
He goes. So there's a bunch of cops. So that was like why the guy like recanted his testimonies because he's staring out into a field of cops.
Yep.
I would have, if I'm Murdoch, I'm like, judge.
Yeah.
Like, we got to clear the courtroom. Like, they're intimidating.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Some of the cops had like Punisher neck tattoos.
We see also, I forgot, that's one thing that happens during the scene where they're going to get Nikki Torres is like right outside the building he's in. There's a big Punisher logo on the wall.
Oh, I didn't see that.
Yeah. So I mean, that's one thing that this episode did do for me is it is getting me more and more excited for when the Punisher arrives because I'm like, I really need to see how he handles this.
Because he's not gonna.
He is not gonna like any of this. So I'm just like, ooh. And also another thing that it made me think about the Punisher is also when he's like, vigilante. He's like, you shouldn't have to wear a mask. I'm like, well, Punisher don't wear a mask, so I'm like, that guy's doing it. So like, but anyways, this episode. So yeah, he suits up to go on his nightly patrol, which I'm like, bro, no. Even if you are dead set on being White Tiger in New York, take a couple days, man. You don't just that night. But I think, like I said, if you ain't packing up and moving to somewhere else to be a vigilante, I don't know what's wrong with you.
Also, new suit.
Yeah.
New suit.
Yeah.
The necklace is the power, not the suit.
You know the cops.
Yeah.
Or some of the cops. We also get to see that a lot of cops do. But there is a faction of cops that hate your guts right now, that some of them either rightfully or falsely, or not rightfully, but either truly believe like inside or just to go along with the Brotherhood, that you killed one of them and got away with it. And I'm just like, you don't put on that suit and walk out into the night.
I wonder if we're going to find out that the Punisher cops are being run by Fisk.
Maybe.
That's my theory right now.
Yeah.
Because they're definitely not affiliated with the Punisher for real.
No, there's no way.
Because the Punisher is going to hate them.
Yeah, the Punisher is going to hate every single one of them. That's why I'm just like, ooh, I can't wait till he shows up. And like,
because we're gearing up to be Daredevil versus the Punisher cops. Which is going to be, in my opinion, really Daredevil versus Fisk.
Yep.
Which is in charge of the Punisher cops.
Yeah.
And then the Punisher showing up to help. To be like, no, I don't like these guys.
He's like, we are not doing this
because he does get shot, and then as the cops walking towards the screen, we see the Punisher logo on the shirt, which is supposed to make the audience think that it's the Punisher.
If you think
but we're not stupid.
Punisher,
that's just the show saying that the audience is stupid because we know that's not the real Punisher.
Yeah.
No, that's a cop.
That's a cop
in disguise wearing a Punisher shirt, pretending to be the Punisher.
100%.
Yeah. Stupid. Yeah. There is also a brief scene, some stuff with Fisk talking to BB and whatnot. It's whatever.
Yeah, basically just calling out vigilantes.
This whole episode was
it down.
Yeah, this whole episode was really just a poorly portrayed trial.
Oh yeah. This was
which is not unacceptable if your show is about a lawyer.
Yep. No, I'm right there with you. I'm right there with you.
Robert out. Hey, if you like the show, you should check out our website, watchinitpod.com. We've got blogs. Blogs aplenty.
Mm-hmm.
Blogs each week, sometimes multiple each week.
Yeah.
There you can find links to all of our episodes, as well as to email us, watchinitpodcast@gmail.com. You can also find links to our social media. We're on Blue Sky. We're on Instagram. Donnell, what else should they do?
No, as you said, the website is up and running. We didn't cover Invincible this year. Just didn't line up. But either
an excellent season.
Excellent, yeah. I think, in my opinion, I think this is probably the best season.
Yeah, season finale episode was fantastic, amazing. Yeah.
So I got. If you want to check out my thoughts on it, I threw up my my review of this whole season on there. We also have on our website, we have our guest intake form. So if you'd like to come on the show, you can fill that out and we can review it and see if we can get some people on here. We always love having more people to talk about TV and movies with, of course. And get ready for Andor because it's coming. I mean, we're still finishing up Severance, of course. We're about to talk about that next.
We're gonna keep talking about Daredevil,
and yes, we're gonna be on Daredevil. Hopefully.
I mean, look. The show doesn't have to be good for us to cover it. I will trash a show every day of the week.
Like, I'm just hoping this ain't going to be an Iron Man 3 scenario where it's just a freaking Matt Murdock show until like the last episode. We don't need none of that. Like you said, we've already seen this in Netflix. But anyways, yeah, we're covering Severance still, covering Daredevil, but up next is going to be Andor. Really looking forward to that. So yeah, get ready for that. All right, let's get to some good TV, right?
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Let's get to some real good TV. We have Severance, season 2, episode 9, The After Hours.
There's a lot that happens.
A lot.
It's all over the place.
This one.
I don't know where to start.
I know. I mean, let's start with Helena, to be clear. Just because it's a quick little scene opening, and we don't circle back to her at all.
Well, no, we do.
Do we?
Yeah. In a major. Well,
to Helena.
Well,
no, I'm differentiating on purpose. Helena and Helly are two separate entities.
let's talk about H&H.
Okay, all right. Fine.
Helly and Helena all the way through because she has very little intersect with the rest of the story. So
I mean, pretty much nobody of the core team interacts with each other this episode.
This is true.
Yeah, it's very interesting.
Well, I mean,
wait. Yeah, I guess Helly and
Dylan have a quick moment, but it's not a. Well, it is a big deal, but it's not a big deal.
But yeah, so we start this episode with Helena.
Yep.
Out in the real world, she's doing some swimming.
Early morning swimming.
Yep, getting herself ready. And then she goes to have, I don't know if
breakfast?
I say have breakfast with her father, because her father very clearly is like, she's like, he comes in and she's like, will you eat? And he's like, I'll watch, which I'm like, that is the weirdest thing that you could say.
He's a weird dude.
Like, you're going to watch me eat?
Dude, he grew up in the ether factory, man.
Yeah.
His brain is jacked.
His brain is something else.
So yeah, she has one deviled egg for breakfast.
Split into 6 evenly.
I could not survive this way.
Yeah. Evenly sliced things. And she delicately with a fork and knife.
Who does that?
Cuts each thing. Well, the thing I'm thinking the whole time I was watching, and it comes up, especially at the end when with what he says. I'm like,
well, these aren't deviled eggs. These are hard-boiled eggs.
Yeah, this is hard-boiled eggs. Yeah. It does make you slightly sympathetic to Helena.
Oh, absolutely.
Because I'm just like,
well, I said several episodes ago that they're going to make her out to be.
Yeah, I wasn't on that train yet, but after this episode, like, she has been, because watching the episode, like, she has been judged for everything she does in life by her father. It doesn't matter, because like even the way she eats her eggs is being judged. You hear him audibly sigh as she cuts into the egg, and he's just like, nope. And it's just like,
like, why is that not raw?
Yeah, I prefer you eat them raw, which I'm just like, okay. And then also just realizing we get the scene wraps up with her driving into work probably, or it is, because we do see Lumen in the background, and she's in the back of a limo by herself, and like the screen zooms out just to show how, I mean, yes, Lumen, the building is isolated, but just how isolated she is in a sense. Like, she also, like, it's also what leads me back to the whole her interactions with Mark really affected her, because I'm like, yes, he does not have normal human connection at all.
Well, also, she's not even that isolated from the building because it's right there.
Yeah.
The Egan home is right behind the building.
Is right behind the building. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it just makes you realize how isolated C is, and then also how like, yes, he's just been judged for everything. C is expected to be a certain person all the time, and if C's not,
yeah.
She so Helly arrives.
Yep.
On the separation floor, the severed floor. There we go. Nobody else is there. Lights are out.
Yep,
Nobody's
everybody
there.
Gone.
She's rested to see Mark, who is not in for the day. And so she promptly storms into Mr. Milchick's office for just a great scene. Just a fantastic scene of she's demanding, where's Mark? Why isn't he here? And being very vocal and aggressive, but there's another word when you're like counter to somebody, but I'll use aggressive. It's fine. Very vocal and aggressive about it to Mr. Milchick, where he proceeds to try to remind her. He's like, hey, you're my subordinate, Helly R. And I just love, she's like, don't you mean Helly E?
Yeah, that was such a good line.
And I'm just like,
the smirk on her face.
Ooh. And it's, because he realizes now, like, there's nothing they can do to her.
Yeah.
Because, like, they just, like, anything they do, she is the next to rule. She is the next, monarch of this company, essentially. And so I'm just like, oh, Helly's off the leash, folks.
Yeah. She does have a brief scene where she talks with Dylan in the break room, or not the break room, but
a break room, an actual break room.
The kitchen, yeah. And Helly's just getting crapped on.
Yeah.
By Dylan and everybody. Like,
it's
just a lot.
I mean, it is a jarring fact to find out that she is who she is, and then also that not only is she who she is, that you have been until recently spending time with essentially your opposition, your biggest enemy, in disguise as who you thought was someone you can trust. And it's not it's not Helly's fault, but it's also like you can't fault Dylan for feeling this way.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, it's like, well,
I feel like the theme of this episode was dealing with pain alone.
Yeah.
Because you've got Dylan dealing with their individual pains.
Mm-hmm.
You've got Helly and Helena dealing with their individual pains.
Yep.
You've got
Mr. Milchick
dealing with his pain.
Yep.
And he's alone. You got Huang. She's kind of dealing with her pain alone.
Yep.
You've got Irving, who's not any Irving, but Audi Irving, which I want to talk about that in more detail in a second.
About that.
He's dealing with something, but he's alone.
Yeah,
and Mark,
he's with Bert,
Mark S,
but he thinks he's alone until the end of it.
Are both they're not fully integrated yet, and they're both gonna be dealing with their own pain alone. That's kind of what I got from this episode.
Yeah.
So that's kind of where we wrap up with Helly. Oh no, she decides. She's talking with Dylan.
She tries to get Dylan to join her in fulfilling Irving's last wish. Yeah. Finding the black hallway.
Yeah.
Dylan doesn't, but she decides she's going to do it on her own. She goes to the break room, the new break room, but still goes to the break room, recovers the map, and takes it back to her desk, and is trying to memorize it. And we get what I'm like, I don't know where we go from here, but she's sitting there. We get a silhouette of a man behind her. And when she turns, it's freaking her father, or Helena's father. But though it's interesting, he calls her, he says, which I'm assuming he's called Helena Helly in the outer world too. But he calls her my Helly. And I'm just like, what's going on here?
It's weird. He's a weird dude.
He's a very weird character, and Helly meeting her father. I mean, there's a part of me I don't think it, but there's a part like, what if she just killed him? Right there. There's nothing stopping her, and he's right there. And I'm just like, what if she just?
I like how she's just like, what the hell?
What the heck? She doesn't know. Insane.
So you suggested that maybe that was who was watching Mark in the first
maybe,
episode.
But I'm not
I think
sure.
the jury's still out on that.
I think
that's
it's still
a mystery
open.
that we need answered of who.
Yeah,
I think it was one of the watchers.
One of the watchers.
One of the lower floor watchers.
Maybe, yeah.
That's my opinion at this stage. I've moved past the Granger thoughts. Yeah.
Yeah. No, Granger's gone. I mean, he's gone.
Let's talk about Irving.
Yeah, let's do Irving.
So Irving comes home.
Yeah.
Radar is sitting there on the floor,
just staring
looking at something.
Into a room.
Bert is in his room.
Yeah.
And
going through all of Irving's like notes and stuff about Lumen that he's acquired, including kind of going over some stuff that sounds like Irving might be maybe not some hitman, but I mean Irving kind of clears it up that he's not the guy who does the deed. He just,
you mean Bert?
Oh yeah, Bert. Sorry. Nah,
yeah. So Bert is like, let's take a ride,
and I'm like, let's not take a ride. I'm like, that's the last. I'm not getting in no car with you, Bert. I'm sorry. But yeah, Irving, I guess a braver man than me. I guess decides to take this ride with him.
Do you think this season we're gonna find out who Irving was talking to on the payphone?
This season?
I don't feel like we will.
I don't think so. I don't think so this season.
I think next episode is going to be a lot of Mark.
Yeah.
All Mark.
I think it's going to be
and like understanding what Hold Harbor is.
I think there might be a little bit of Helly with
the
father, but yeah, I think this is going to be a heavy Mark focused episode.
Dylan might be out, which we'll talk about.
I mean, yeah, who knows?
Yeah. But anyway, they take a ride to a train station.
Yeah. Well, on the way though.
Yep.
They're in the car, and Bert is kind of justifying what he's done for Lumen, and talking about how like, no, I've never harmed anybody. I would just take people to a place where they would get harmed. So we're finding out that Lumen is, I mean, we've already had this feeling, but we got our kind of first confirmation that Lumen's doing some shady stuff. And Bert has helped with it. I really do like Irving when because they're in the car and when Bert says like, yeah, I take people to where they get harmed, and Irving's like, is that where we're going now? And I'm like, ooh. But no, they are not. They arrive at a train station. This train station, once again, as we have said multiple times, and me and Robert vocalized this while we're watching it, what time frame are we in?
Because this is an old, like, 1950s, like 40s, 20s even, like, train station situation.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a more modern train.
It's a more modern train, but the train station, and like the ticket booth that he goes up to and everything, I'm like, where? Like I said, I think that is intentional from the show.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Is like, because you can't place it, it just makes everything else seem so much more surreal. Because, like, yeah, at some point we seem very much in the future, and some point it seems like we have stepped back in time, and like, what is going on here? But yeah, I think that's.
I mean, it's all part of the aesthetic of the show that we love so much.
Yep.
Bert buys Irving a train ticket, and it's like, you just need to go.
Yeah, he's like, get on the train,
just leave and go far away,
and
never
he's
come
like,
back.
It's to the end of the line. You just need to get off somewhere because I can't know where you're going. And basically, he's, you know, it's one of those things that we kind of got both things with Bert this episode. We wondered, is Bert, you know, deeper into Lumen than we thought? And he is. We find out. But we also learned that Bert also truly does, like, he's not betraying Irving. He truly does, you know, have feelings for Irving, or he knows that his innocent self, as he calls it, had feelings for Irving.
His self,
Yeah. And so he just wants Irving to be safe.
Yeah. And this is just another beautiful scene, a continuation of one of the greatest love stories ever, where we find out that Irving, the Audi Irving, has never really had a relationship like that.
Yeah, never really been in love, never been close with somebody.
And he tries to, you know, move in on Bert. And I love the line when he's just saying, I'm ready.
Yeah.
Because if you remember his Innie version, when they almost kissed, and when they were in like the plant room, he's like, I'm not ready.
Yeah.
Which makes me wonder, is Irving integrated or unsevered?
I think it was just like to make a call. Like, I think that's a normal, not a normal circumstance.
I felt like he was specifically trying to call out to Bert's Innie, saying I'm ready, because he kept repeating it over and over again. And there's so many scenes in, like, especially the first season,
that also leads you to think that he is still severed, because it's
hard to tell.
It's hard to tell. I think this scene, like, I think this was just a way to call back to that scene,
Oh, absolutely.
reminder.
Yeah.
Like I think it was intentionally
regardless
shot.
of whether there's additional context or not.
Yeah.
That's definitely what it was.
Yeah. And then just gotta say that this is, as Robert already said, this is one of the most beautiful love stories ever told. And it is just Christopher Walken and John Turturro. Like they kill these roles.
Oh, absolutely.
And it's just like, even as we've said, Christopher Walken is still 100% Christopher Walken in this role, but it's still, he kills it as this version of Christopher Walken. Like that's when the whole time you're just like, damn. I mean, it's really sad this episode had a lot of sadness to it also, especially at the end. Because like, for me at least, like, and we don't know, like I said, who knows what season 3 will hold and how they're going to wrap up the story. I'm assuming it's going to wrap up in season 3, maybe not. Maybe it's season 4. But still, like, while we're watching this episode, I'm like, we're losing Irving as he rides off on a train. We're losing Bert. I mean, Bert might show up, but I don't think he's going to be in a good place. It seems like Lumen might be out to get him for letting Irving go. It's like we're losing Bert. We're losing Dylan. Like we're losing characters as we go. And as Mark gets more integrated, we're also like losing a distinctive any Mark and outing Mark. And so I'm like, we're losing characters. It was just like, for this being the penultimate episode.
Yeah.
It was very sad.
I hope that they don't pull a Westworld where it goes like into the real world.
Yeah.
And gets stupid.
Yeah.
But I'm feeling like it might.
No. I still have faith.
Like Cold Harbor is going to get completed, and that's going to really like do a phase change into a completely different kind of show.
I don't know if Cold Harbor is getting completed the way, as we'll get to Mark's story, what Miss Cobell says.
Yeah.
But
I don't know. It just back to Irving is like in the first season, like sometimes when he breaks the any character.
A little bit.
He's like MFer, you're not severed, and so like that, like it just, and like he knows so much about what's going on inside, and I can't wait to find out more about what's going on with Irving.
I mean, I definitely feel like Irving, whatever, like I feel like Irving might be like some sort of not true reintegration, but like. Maybe they did something that made him more able to connect. Because, like, I mean, it's like him being able to paint the stuff. But that thing is one thing, and this is one of the reasons why I don't think he is unsevered, is that how shocked any Irving was by seeing the paintings of the black hallway.
Yeah,
like, he had no recollection. So, like, but I think I wouldn't be surprised if like we found like Irving was like a guinea pig for like the first reintegration or something. And while it didn't work, then the wall.
Because he's been severed for a long time.
Yeah. And so, like, maybe they're like, it then the wall. So the division for him isn't as much. And that sometimes it bleeds through and stuff. So I wouldn't be surprised to find out. But I don't think he's fully unsevered. But I wouldn't be surprised to find out if it was like he has like something where it's bleeding through.
All right. Before we get to Mark, let's talk about
Dylan.
Let's talk about Milchek and Wong real quick.
Okay. Yeah.
Wong has graduated from her fellowship.
I feel like Milchek forced it.
Oh, a little bit.
Yeah, because C does say, "Oh, I thought I was finishing out the quarter doing this." But I think Mr. Milchek wants her gone, essentially.
Because he wants the glory of finishing Cold Harbor to be all him.
Yeah. And maybe also we've seen them butt heads a couple of times throughout this season, so I think that the strife between them has gotten to him, and so he wants Miss Wong gone. So I think he got her what is it, Wintertide
Fellowship?
Yeah, Wintertide's Fellowship. He got that rust because he's even like, I thought I had till the end of this quarter, and he's like, well, nope, got to graduate it.
I love that she gets a bust.
Yep.
And then they make her break her game.
Yep. He's like, you have to give up material. And once again, this is another part where I'm like, no, this is Mr. Milchek getting a little revenge. Like, he's enjoying watching her smash her
to be meta for a minute, do you think that's the only copy of the that loop game that they made?
Nah.
And who many? Do you think everybody on the staff
set has one
of the set? Yeah, got one.
Yeah, I was like, there's no way it's the only one because, like you said, who knows if something happened where it broke, they're not going to take the time like, oh, we got to now pause. Yeah. So I imagine they got like a box of them, but yeah.
Can I buy one?
But yeah, so he has her smash her loop game. And he's standing like again, and I'm just like, yeah, you're getting some enjoyment out of this, Mr. Milchek.
So yeah, we find out that Mark's been out for 2 days. This is his second day out.
Yep.
And he has a conversation with Drummond,
Mr. Drummond,
where Drummond's like, hey, what's going on? This is your fault that this is failing.
Today's supposed to be like they have it marked in the count like this is the day Cold Harbor is finished. It's supposed to be a big event, and instead we don't know where our top I can't remember that, our top performer or whatever his name is. And this is this your idea of cracking the whip and stuff? Basically,
tightening the leash.
Yeah. It's like, just kind of cutting into Mr. Milchek a little bit.
And then Milchek says a big word.
Yeah.
And Drummond's like, say smaller
apologize
words.
for it. And then he's like, I apologize. And he's like, shorter. And he's like, I'm sorry. And he's like, again. And then I just love Mr. Milchek just stops and stares him down. And I'm like, what's happening here?
Then drops some big words that basically mean eat, S word.
Yep.
And
eat some crap.
Milchek stands up for himself.
Yeah.
He's like, look, I do what I do down on the seventh floor. Anything that's happening up here, that's your fault, not mine.
Yeah. So you're the one fell in. And I was just like, yeah, Mr. Milchek, you tell him.
Yeah, Drummond, like he's in deer in headlights.
Did not see that coming. Did not.
Yeah, good times.
I think Mr. Milchek is starting to, like, one is I never known how dead it, like, unlike Miss Bell,
Harmony, yeah.
I always felt like Mr. Milchek wasn't fully in. Like, he was working this job and he was dedicated to it, but I never felt like he was fully in on this whole thing, especially like when he gets the redone paintings and some other stuff. Like,
I mean,
I've
the
always
paintings
felt like
were the blackface paintings were definitely an inflection point for him.
Yeah, I've always felt like maybe, and so I feel like this scene here, like this is, I'm not saying 100% he's on the rebellion or anything, but I definitely feel like he might be rethinking his relationship with Lumen.
I need a backstory on Milchek.
Yeah.
A backstory on a lot of people.
Yeah.
Milchek's definitely one I would like to know more about. How did he come to this place? And, and why is he, such a sycophant? With everything. So that's pretty much where Milchek ends.
Yep.
Let's talk about Dylan. Probably the second biggest story going on in this episode.
We start with Audi Dylan getting ready to go into work at Lumen, and his wife decides that she needs to tell him that she kissed any Dylan.
Yep.
It's a very, like, it's a serious thing, but I just love all the different, like, talking about the relationships, but with him when he was like, so you, it was like, and don't follow. They get in a little bit of a fight. He's like, don't follow me to work so you can cheat on me with myself. It's just like, and
I called it.
Yeah,
she's like, it reminds me of who you used to be.
Yeah,
I totally called it.
You had nail on the head, Robert. I will give you all the points for that because you called it from the very first time they met. He was like, she's gonna fall for him because. Because he's like how Dylan was when they first met or when they were younger and stuff. But yeah,
so Dylan does go into work.
Yeah,
he
he threatens though. He's like, maybe I'll quit and basically kill any Dylan.
Yep. And of course, we pick up with his wife and
wife
any
followed
Dylan
him to work
in the family room. And she's like, I can't.
I love that she's I told him about us.
Oh yeah,
and
I told you about us.
Yeah, I told you about us, and then I just love when Dylan's like, so was he happy for her?
How is it gonna be?
Like any Dylan. I mean, like I said, it's his naivety of everything. That any Dylan, doesn't see it for what it is. But then we kind of get to some real, we've talked about the darkness of the whole anything, but she's like, we can't do this anymore, and like I gotta go, and he's just like, you are my world. I came alive when I met you. Yeah, and she tries to be like, you have so much. Like I also love the line
about the flattery.
But I also just love the line. It's like, you have so much. It's like, no, it's like without you, all I have is erasures, and I'm just like, it's such a weird thing to say, but it's like it makes sense.
And finger traps. Here's part of a finger trap that I made for you. Yeah, please marry me. Yeah, that would be weird if
I know.
Said yes.
When he's like, please marry me, it's like, I can give you a life. I'm like, how, any Dylan? Like, I know where you're coming from, and I know I feel for you, buddy, but I'm like, what sort of life can you give her?
I wonder if that like mimics like an actual interaction she had with Audi Dylan.
Yeah.
Because she was totally thinking about it.
Yes, like, she does pause.
This actress did a fantastic job. I mean, it's definitely, there's directing and stuff there, but the actress that they got to play the Audi Dylan wife is she did a fantastic job. I should have her name, but I don't have it on hand. We'll try and remember for the next episode because I'm sure she'll show up again.
Yep. But great. she does not accept it, and Dylan kind of basically just loses all hope. We already alluded to him and Helena having a little conversation, and in it, I do love also the line where Helena's like, "Save that ring to give to someone down here," and he's like, "What? It's just O&D and the goat people." But
there's Miss Wong, there's Miss Casey, like there's others.
Miss Casey's not one. Is Miss Casey is taken if Dylan subscribes to Mark and his wife and stuff, and also they haven't seen Miss Casey in so long. But yeah,
I feel like he would get along with some of the goat people.
Yeah, if he gave him a shot, I think he could. But I mean,
has he really met the goat people?
No, he has not. But Dylan is also, it takes Dylan a lot longer. It took him a while to really be okay with O&D. But yeah, so Dylan kind of spirals. Like I said, Helly does try to get him to help with the search, but he doesn't. And ultimately, Dylan decides to take it out of his Audie's hands. He's like, you know what? I'm gonna quit. And basically, he's not just quit. Like he's deciding to end his life himself. And
he's signing. He goes and he signs the resignation request, which I think is gonna get authorized.
Oh yeah.
I do love the scene where Huang apologizes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
because there was nobody like watching when he was doing the family stuff.
Yeah,
like they should have stopped the makeout session.
But yeah, and then basically we get to see him wait for the elevator. Conveniently, where he's sitting is in front of the poster of Kier, and he's like got like 4 guys in the water, and he's holding a sword, and I'm just like, well, that's just it just looks like Dylan's about to get his head chopped off by Kier. But he gets in the elevator, and like I said, who knows? Maybe any Dylan will get to return in next season. But for now, it's that's another one down because we already lost any Irving. Now any Dylan. We're losing him, and I mean we're going to lose any Mark in a sense. I mean he's going to kind of combine, but still.
Yeah, let's talk about Mark.
I
mean it's really kind of it's an important part of the episode, but it's not a big chunk of the episode.
Yeah, I mean it's pretty quick.
Yeah, him and Devin drive out to the middle of the woods.
Yep.
And wait for Cobell to show up, which he eventually does. Lots of animosity,
rightly
back and
so.
forth.
Like this is one of those things. This whole time, like I know for the show it makes sense, but like I'm on Team Mark while I'm watching this. I'm like, to realize what your life has been, what Miss Cobell, she pretended to be somebody else to infiltrate your life, all this stuff. Like I wouldn't trust. I wouldn't trust her at all. I would be like, I want nothing to do with this woman. So I'm right there with Mark, but I'm also like, Mark, you need to call Mr. Milchick and call out and listen to. Like I hate to say it, but I agree with you, Mark. But also like I know the show, so you're gonna need to do this. Ultimately, he does. Call Mr. Milchick.
Yep.
And first tries lying, saying he's out sick, but then he's just like, you know what? I just need some personal time.
Yep.
And that's perfectly.
I got vacation days.
Perfectly
I'm taking
acceptable. And this is also, like I said, we get to see a little bit of Mr. Milchick where I don't like what. Do you know what picture he was looking at when because like turns and looks at a picture.
It was the thing the Titanic hit.
Oh, the iceberg.
Iceberg. Yeah.
Yeah. So Mr. Milchick turns and looks at that and like kind of has a moment of just reflection, and he's just like, you know what? If you be here tomorrow, go for it. Like I said, this is a little bit more.
Milchick's having a crisis of faith, man.
Exactly. So then Mark with Harmony and Devin, he gets in the back of the truck for another extremely cold ride.
That would be crazy. Yeah, it is
snowing
outside. The wind chill.
How far was that one too?
Yeah.
But and Devin and Miss Cobell up in the cab just
at nighttime.
Heater's probably on, feeling great.
I don't think there's a great heater in that truck.
Yeah, that truck is an old beater. But they drive out to the birthing place that Devin went to and ran into the severed woman. And I don't believe this scene at all at the gate that Harmony could get in, because I feel like she is definitely on Lumen's list of top enemies, where I feel like any Lumen property would have if you see this woman, call Mr. Drummond immediately. So I'm like, I don't know how.
We don't know that's not gonna happen.
Yeah,
but I do love the back and forth where it's like the coded language.
Yeah, so he uses all this code to get them in.
Like
basically
very
saying Devin is one of James is what I'm just like, oh, this guy's out here.
Jamie.
No, she says no, it's just James.
Oh,
it's literally, and even in the subtitles, Jame. It's just James.
Fair enough.
Which is weird. Like I said, that's not a normal name and thing. So it's like, but that's also Lumen isn't normal. But yes, he's like it's one of James's whatever. He just implies that James, does this a lot. And that so they get in there, and then we just warp to Annie Mark waking up in the cabin.
Yep, freaking out
A little bit.
Where was he last time?
Where was the last time we saw Annie Mark?
I mean, guess he was like going through reintegration along with regular Mark, but
they had some mix-ups. But before that, it was he just worked a day at Lumen.
Just a regular day.
It was the same day he had sex with Helly. Then he got a bloody nose. That's the last day he's worked. Got a bloody nose.
Well, yeah, that was where he kind of like when he zoned in, he like seemed very freaked out.
Yeah, I mean it would be because, like I said, he's used to. When he zones in, he's in an elevator.
Yeah.
Suddenly he's standing in a cabin, so that's going to jar him. But yeah, so he comes to, and Devin, talks him down, kind of calm. He tries to leave, but he's like, if you leave, he's just going to walk back in here, which I love that. Just a throwback to Helly in the first season.
Yeah. And Mark S. knows what's up. He's just like, okay, well, I'm not going to do that.
Yeah. And she gets him upstairs where Miss Cobell is standing there. And he's like, I need you to tell me everything. And then we just roll credits. And I'm just like, this last episode's going to be something else, Robert.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to like, how are they going to, because they're going to converse with each other. Is it going to be, he gives a message, like a game of telephone, he gives a message to Devin and then walks out, and then Devin tells him what he said, and then they go back and forth? Or you think
the way it seems like with Miss Cobell is like, I feel like they're going to like, get all the information they can from Annie Mark, and then we'll bring in Outie Mark to like talk about.
I do love how Cobell was framed like Satan.
Yeah, I was saying it was like a very great shot. There's fire behind her, and she's just standing right in the middle. Like it was a great shot for that.
I thought they were gonna put her behind a desk for a minute and just be like Mark S. Like
Mark S. Welcome to your quarterly review.
A good wrap, kind of like clean out the gutters episode, like kind of catch us up on everything before the big finale next week, which will be very exciting. The next episode will be Cold Harbor.
Yep. And that's one thing we forgot to mention is during their talk before they head out to the cabin, and Mark is very upset about why are we here in the middle of nowhere and not doing something about getting his wife back. And I just love that she's like, Miss Cobell says, have you finished Cold Harbor? And he's like, he doesn't know, and he's like, well, if you had, she's already dead, which kind of leads to like, okay, like what's going to happen what is Cold Harbor? What's going to happen at the end of it? Yeah,
like she'll get overwritten with an entirely new personality or something.
Maybe.
I mean, I think we'll get an answer next episode. I mean, obviously it's called Cold Harbor.
Yep.
But I think we'll get a lot of revelations about what all of this means and whatnot. But they did say that they'll open up new doors for us to explore in the next season, which I'm sure they will. There's still a lot of unanswered questions. There's still a lot of
doors.
What's going on with Irving and his phone calls? What's going on with Bert? Where's Dylan going to go? What's and Helly?
What's going to happen with Mr. Milkshake? Helly meeting her father.
I'm sad that Miss Huang's gone.
Yeah.
That was an interesting character. To introduce this, I was uneasy about this character at the beginning, but she's been a good addition. It's unfortunate that she is gone, and I don't think we're going to see her again.
No, me either. I will say that's another thing from that scene was Mr. Mills like, you will move out of your parents' house and into your whatever. And I'm just like, this. I mean, like you said, we kind of learned that with Harmony last episode, but like, when you're a part of Lumen, like you're in it, Miss Wong is like what, 12, 13? Yeah, and they're just like, "Yep, time for you to leave your parents' house, fully dedicate yourself to Lumen," which is why
head off to the Ether Factory.
This is not a job. This is a cult. No job does that. But yeah, still,
fantastic. I definitely need a day. Well, that's the show, ladies and gentlemen. Again, check out our website. Check out our new blog posts that we've got going on. And you can also support us on Patreon and on Spotify.
Yep.
Any other places they can support us?
That's it right now. That is all. Spotify, Patreon.
But the best thing that you can do is tell a friend.
Yep.
Subscribe, like. Leave us a review. 5 stars, hopefully.
Yep.
What else, Donna?
I mean, you pretty much hit it on the head this time, Robert.
Fantastic.
I'm stealing the show.
I'm stealing the show.
Yeah. Thanks so much for listening. Bye.